All right. So I guess now you understand what the plan was.
Absolutely. At Colts Law, we talk Indianapolis Colts football.
We're going to stick to what we know, fundamentals and technique, 1% better every day.
What's going on, Colts Nation? Appreciate each and every one of you. Been sitting in the chat waiting on us. Truett says, woo, alarm didn't go off. Glad I checked. What's up? Fuzzy Whistler, Truett, John Davis. Guys, we're going to be diving into this game. It's not going to be like the pregame show. We're just kind of, a look ahead because, it's a week away from today. Woohoo! Yay! Football's here. Man, I am excited. I'm sure a lot of you are excited. How are you feeling knowing that, the NFL season is just 7 days away?
Yeah. 7 for us. Yes, sir.
Yes. For us.
Yeah. This college, I like how that, college just sort of whets your appetite, give you a little taste of it, but it's still not what I'm waiting for. Yeah. I've been waiting for this. Seems like for 8 months.
Right. About that, really, yeah. Maybe longer. It seems like, for Jaguars fans, you've been waiting on this day for 4 years. Oh, sorry, homie. If Jaguars fans are in here, I apologize. No, I don't. But anyhow, here it is, guys. I appreciate each and every one of you. Please don't forget, smash that like button, hit subscribe if you're not subscribed, tag that notification bell so that you are notified next time we go live or upload a video. And I want to shout out a few people, if you don't mind, Loyalist.
Oh, I'm more than happy.
Man. Okay, so there's a link in the description down below where you could join our Patreon, where we have Patreon live streams. Only Patreon people can join. And then there's a bunch of other stuff on Patreon for us. And, it's only $5 a month. That ain't nothing, right? It's a cup of coffee, less than a cup of coffee and per month. But here's the deal. You can join all these great people right here. All of them. Now, I'm going to have to change the color on that at some point. Matter of fact, let's do that now. Shall we? All right. So what kind of color do I want to make these? Because I didn't realize the color that it was going to be. Does that show? No, that don't show up very good. Does that show up any better? No. How about just black? There's a lot of black in the background. Either way, all right. You see the names. They're there. We're going to make it back to white because it was more readable, I think, than the other stuff. But Ant, Ross, Joe Thornburg, Pedro51, Loyalist, who's here in the stream with me every freaking day, yet he donates $5 a month. Brian Walton, Ura NPT, Martin Hazel, Goki, Truett Trussler, Matthew, Chang Andrew, Zach Ballinger, Kayvon Jackstar, Fuzzy Whistler, Anthony, Zach Avery, and our newest, Ponce Enril. Appreciate each and every one of you for being a Patreon supporter. Thank you so much. Man. Now, don't forget, there's other ways that you could support us. Like if you're sitting here and you want to donate to help us out a little bit, that link is right at the top of the description. It's just like a super chat, only, we get a lot more than if you use the YouTube super chat because YouTube are greedy. So let's get into this. Let's get into this game in a week. Man, we're gonna face the Seattle Seahawks, and we know. Yes, the Indianapolis Colts, they've had a lot of off-season news, with injuries and COVID and, off-season acquisitions like quarterbacks. But Seattle, they have not been without theirs as well. Russell Wilson called the front office of the team out and says, get me an offensive line or trade me. You know, he did that. He did that. And what they do? They said, I dare you. I dare you. Go ahead and try to get someone. Go ahead. Go ahead. We're not trading you, but I dare you to try to hold out. You know, that's pretty much, they called him out. He still went, he played, you know. And what are they planning on doing with their offensive line? They're thinking about signing Brown back, thinking about signing a 34, I think he's 34, maybe he's 36.
36, yeah.
36-year-old offensive lineman. Now, to be fair, offensive linemen, they're not like running backs and cornerbacks and wide receivers. You know, that they don't need that athleticism to be good. You know, it's mostly up here, physical and technique, right? So, yeah, I get that, which means they can last into their later 30s, generally.
Yeah, and he's hands down their best offensive lineman at a key spot, you know, in their left tackle. So, yeah, that's a big thing for them. And, you know, we sit there and we've been, that didn't look too nice.
There was a gnat in it.
Oh, I thought you were just having that thought because of the Seattle offensive line or something.
Seattle's offensive line reminds me of Andrew Luck's offensive line. Go ahead, man.
No, I'm sorry. I forgot about that group. So, no. But, yeah, I mean, like you said, you know, they've got a lot of key spots where they have questions, you know, and it's not that they're not questions of can they step up, can they perform. They're questions of, are they going to be mentally ready? Are they going to be physically ready to perform? You know, I mean, I'm more comfortable with our offensive line. I mean, yeah, we've had, you know, our left tackle situation, and it's not the perfect solution, but he has been here. He's been plugged in. He's been in the meetings. You know, he's been there, and Davenport's, like I said, you know, he's shown the ability to improve, and he's shut a bunch of us up. So I'd take that over a disgruntled employee any day.
Well, I mean, we had 3 guys, and it feels like that's exactly what Ballard and Reich were planning. We're going to get 3 guys. We don't know how all 3 of them are. They're at that, you know, maybe level, you know, through the offseason. And so maybe one of them steps up and shows us that they can, you know, be that solid backup, you know, until Fisher gets back. And luckily enough, one did, right? One.
Yeah.
So, you know, it is what it is. Looks like we're going to have the rest of the offensive line up and going, so that's going to be good. And that's huge news for the running game, right? I mean,
oh, absolutely.
Man, with the kind of running backs that we have, and, you know, guys like Kelly and Nelson and Glowinski and Smith out there running, I mean, Jack Doyle and Mo Alley Cox, you know, helping on the blocking, and then edge blocking, right, with Michael Pittman Jr. and Zach Pascal. We could be a really good run team, and I mean, that's what a lot of people are expecting us to do, right? I mean, go into Seattle and just kind of run it down their throats until we get our offensive line back and let Wentz kind of ease back into things, since he's missed the majority of, you know, the preseason. But that makes me a little uncomfortable, because Seattle actually is okay in the run defense, because they have a safety that knows how to come up and help a lot. And they got a darn good linebacker in Bobby Wagner. Between Jamal Adams and Bobby Wagner, they're pretty decent in the run defense. But that's not to say that, you know, the Colts can't, you know, go out there and just run it down their throats anyhow, right?
Right. Yeah, I think the Seattle game's definitely going to be, you know, you have your script and stuff, and you find what works, like Reich has always done. You know, he scripts things out, and he puts in a nice little mix of types of plays and stuff that still help you find your rhythm. But then whenever he finds what's clicking, that's the horse he'll ride. You know what I mean? Whether it's Jonathan Taylor up the gut, whether it's, Nyheim Hines out doing his, dynamic flair, or if it's, the wide receivers just getting out and creating separation and winning 50-50 balls, whatever works.
Yeah, I'm thinking what we'll probably see offensively, scheme-wise, is most likely, yeah, I think Frank's going to test the run game. He's gonna give the first couple drives, see how the run goes, whether JT is out there or Marlon Mack, because Frank Reich, he's that guy. He will ride who's hot. If Jonathan Taylor's not taking it, and getting 5-6 yards of carry in that first drive, the next drive Marlon Mack will probably be out there. And then if he don't do it, Nyheim Hines will be out the next drive. That's just how Frank goes, right? He will try to find the hot hand early and then feed it. And I mean, if it doesn't work and he gets 2 or 3 into it, I'd say keep an eye on the play action. Passes just over the front 7, right? Just over, that 10 to 15 yard mark where, that sweet spot that a lot of our crossing routes and stuff like that like to happen with our tight ends and our wide receivers. What do you think? Do you think Carson Wentz, even though he's only had or will have a total of 10 days of practice this offseason, do you think that he'll be locked in good enough to be able to make that kind of decisions and drives and trust in his wide receivers and everything if it comes to that?
Well, from what I've seen, I mean, okay, yes, I understand that 7-on-7 is a different beast, but he still gets a little bit of a taste of that speed and their timing and stuff. Mm-hmm. Not to mention, all the summer work and stuff. So, yeah, I mean, honestly, I feel like as far as week 1 for Carson, does he look comfortable in the pocket? Where is he mentally? You know what I mean? That's my biggest question about Carson. Because, like I said, I believe Reich is going to start you off with the run game and let Carson get his feet wet and stuff. But the thing is I do, and I'm really curious to see how many times does the Colts stretch the field? How many times do they take some shots in week 1 just to test the water, just to see where we stand with things? You know what I mean? Because for me, that's where you're going to really find more of the that chemistry and stuff that you talk about. Because now you're with a less rigid pattern. Now you're sort of throwing to a certain part of the field, and is your receiver linked up mentally with you, as far as to know where to be and how to get there. And I think, quite honestly, T.Y. and his veteran leadership being gone, that I think is going to be a big hit in that area. So I am interested to see what Coach does with that, as far as how comfortable is he to take those shots and to stretch that defense out and to open it up a little bit more for the running game and for the short underneath passes.
You mentioned T.Y. Hilton, and back when it was the Legion of Boom, right? Mm-hmm. You had Sherman there and everything, and it was the first time T.Y. had faced up against Sherman. T.Y. had a game. T.Y. had like 140 yards and 2 touchdowns against Sherman, right? And now it's not the same. It's not the same.
No, not at all.
This secondary for Seattle is nowhere near what they used to be. They've lost everybody, and they've been trying to rebuild, but they're just, man, they just haven't been able to really fill those spots the way they need to. I think that if Carson Wentz has his timing down with some of these guys, especially guys like Paris Campbell, that you're right. This is a situation. We're going to miss T.Y. Hilton, but this could be a coming out party for Paris Campbell.
Yeah, and he's Paris is really good at looking great at week 1. It's right. It's just, can we survive week 1? But yeah, like you said, he comes out. Paris doesn't have that historical slow start that you see with a lot of guys. Because he's. I mean, I would have to believe. I'm not trying to put words in his mouth, but I have to believe that there's a part of him that just wants to show everybody, show himself. Just look. This is what you guys have kept me around for. This is what all the hype's about. I feel like Paris from what I've seen and listening to him talk, he's very, very spiritual and very, his belief in himself is strong. And I think he just wants to share with the world, this is why, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, like you said, if those guys can and get that chemistry and get that timing down, that'd be awesome. And you sit there and you talk about Seattle's secondary. I mean, they're so lacking in confidence. I think they've made like 2 trades in like the last week trying to bring in more secondary help and stuff. So obviously they're not where they want to be there.
Yeah, it's true. Another situation. This is not a game that I would. I understand there's a lot of Strawn stands out there in Colts Nation. This is not a game that I expect Mike Strawn to have a game. First off, he's not high on the list, but with Ty out, he's up there probably at number 4 right now. But at the same time, Strawn's game is very similar to a guy that the Seahawks already have, and they practice against daily, right? I mean, even though the guy they have is faster than Mike Strawn, he's still the big-bodied 50-50 catch guy as well, and he's the deep threat type situation with DK
But
Metcalf.
that's fine. See, because Metcalf now he's got all their spirits down, and they're gonna see Strawn and like, no, not another one. And then Strawn's gonna go in and have him mentally beat already.
I mean, it's possible. It's possible.
Yeah. What do you mean? I guess when you say have a game, for me, if Strawn gets 3 attempts, 4 attempts, you know what I mean? That's what I mean. Yeah, just the targets, and if he
gets 4 targets, that's great for someone who was a 7th round pick. I mean,
mm-hmm.
Yeah, I agree. I'm talking about these guys out here that's already Mega Strawn, the guy that's going to take over and be the number 1 receiver for the Colts. There's a lot of guys out there with that kind of that thought process, and I don't see it week 1, not against this. Even with the bad secondary, they still practice against someone that is of his ilk but better, in that aspect. So
yeah. And honestly, guys, for me personally, I'm very high on Michael Strawn, but I don't expect to see 100-yard games or anything anytime this year. The coaches have made it pretty clear, his route tree's a little limited. He knows one receiver position, what I mean? So that's just that alone is going to take some of his opportunities away, So I think this year is just a year to, go in, make your plays when you have the chance, and mostly just hit that playbook, understand the rest of the, the receiving and roles and stuff, and make yourself more valuable to the team for next year and years to come.
What's up, Teddy Belcher? Appreciate. He says easy win. Every home team will win week 1. KDC City dropping in the tip jar. Appreciate you, my guy. Donates $10. What's up? I hear you going to the game. Here's some spending money for food and gas. Now, I was going to. I had tickets given to me. KDC City, I had to turn it down because I had realized when I looked that I have somewhere else I have to be. The $10 will help with food and gas though, because my niece is getting married, and being that she's, I have to be there. I mean, it's family, right?
Yeah.
So, I hate missing the first game that I had been to in more than 10 years, since before LOS came. But at the same time, this is a situation where I can go to a game anytime. I can't miss my niece's wedding. All right. So, and it's at 2:00. The game's at 1. So I'm going to miss the game like completely. Okay. But I'll have to watch it afterwards, and we'll do a stream or something after that. So
there you go. We'll all get to sit and watch you enjoy it for the first time.
Right? Ooh, yeah.
Yeah.
That
We'll all
might
be
be
like
an idea.
we'll all be like, ooh, Lawrence is going to love this play. Check this out.
That might be an idea, guys. I might do a live reaction to the game. After the game's already played, you guys would already know what happened, and I would be seeing what's new. So we may do that. I don't know. We'll see. But, yeah, that's pretty much what it is. That's what's going to happen. Also, Brandon Woods says, don't sleep on Tyler Lockett. Dude's a stud as well. And I'm not sleeping on Lockett. I was just comparing the abilities of Mike Strawn and DK Metcalf, okay? Lockett is that other guy. He's the guy that's been there. I mean, he had what I considered his best season in his entire career last year. Tyler Lockett did. First time in his career he had 100 or more catches, okay? And the dude averages, you know, in the mid to upper 70s in catch percentage. And whereas Metcalf is in the 50s. You know,
yeah.
So Lockett is by far the better receiver. Just Metcalf is more of that scary downfield threat.
Yeah, Lockett's Seattle's T.Y. Hilton. For know, I mean, he you know, he's their leader and their soul of that receiver corps.
Troger, what's up? Lots of sad guys going to be at that wedding, probably. You know, it is. My niece has been with this dude for years and years. You know, I think they were just waiting for them to get settled in because they were young, you know.
Now, wait a minute. See, now tell her, what's one more day?
Well, they did when they posted it. I'm sure they weren't like,
yeah,
let's ruin my uncle's day. I can't say I'm not, and it's not going to be a ruin. I'm going to be proud of my niece, you know. So you know, it's not like a ruined day. It's going to be a great day. I'll get to watch my niece get married, and then afterwards I'll watch the game. You know, it'll be a double great day for me. Martin Hazel says, enjoy the wedding, record the game. I don't have to record it. I got Game Pass. I'll just watch it. It'll after the game's over, I'll be able to watch it 2 hours later. So it'll be fine.
Just won't be able to do all 22.
Yeah. Delusional Patriots fan says that Seattle wide receiver core is filthy. You know what? It'll be kind of, in my opinion, I mean, because Carson's a good running back, right? Metcalf is your deep threat. Big-bodied deep threat. And then Tyler Lockett is that dude that can really, you know, run good routes and find open seams and make sure he catches the football. This, in my opinion, could legitimately be like a test run against the new Titans.
Yeah, except I don't think Lockett's not quite as. I said Lockett's not quite as big as Brown is.
No. I would say DK's more Brown style.
More than Julio?
Julio is more of the route runner, 50-50 catch guy. Like, you know, yeah. So, because Julio's really good at catching the football. I mean, that is one thing he's good at, and I would see him more, you know, like a Lockett. He's bigger than Lockett. You know, he's better than, was throughout his career better than Lockett. But DK and AJ Brown are solid dudes, you know, solid dudes. Now, obviously, Henry is better than Chris Carson, but Chris Carson still is not, you know, he's not someone you just throw under the bus and say, who cares?
Yeah, and that's sort of evened out because Wilson, I would think, is a better quarterback than, you know, Tannehill. So, you know, it sort of balances out.
Yeah. Patriots fan says that I think Seattle also has Gerald Everett as the tight end. Yeah, but they lost Jacob Hollister, right? And I really liked Jacob Hollister. I'm glad he don't play for them anymore. We still have to play him because he's in the AFC East now, and we play the AFC East this year. But it is what it is. So, you know, let's flip sides. We talking about how the Colts offense is going to be running. What about the defense? How is the defense going to handle, let's face it, a very potent offense, especially with you know, Russell Wilson back there with the football, man?
Yeah, I'll tell you right now, two things. Their offensive line, I think our defensive line is just going to attack and attack. And I mean, they're just going to be getting. I see that our defensive line, the advantage that they have over their offensive line, if everything we've seen from Quiddy stays true, which that's the thing. Even when Quiddy, right before the injury, he didn't drop off. You know what I mean? It was, you saw this, and then he didn't regress and then get better again and then regret. I mean, it's just these constant little leaps that you see from Quiddy. So if he continues at that, in other words, if his floor is what we saw, at the last week of training camp, and he can go out there and perform, if we can get Tyquan out there healthy and get him out there, and then like I said, get Kamoko out there on them, second and long, third and long, guaranteed pass plays and stuff. I'm that advantage for us is my biggest thing. And then secondly, can we keep Russell Wilson in the pocket? Can we keep him from extending these plays? And that's where he's sort of that Aaron Rodgers-esque type. That's where he hurts you the most, I think, is, whenever he extends that play. And then I mean, the secondary is at such a disadvantage by that much time, it's hard. Like you said, you got the DKs who are massively, big and physical and can run faster. The guys, yeah. So, yeah, if our defensive line performs like I hope it does, and we still keep discipline and keep our lanes and those two things, man. Those two things happen, we win this game.
Well, that's asking a lot. Brian McNamara says, I finally made to one of your live streams. Love the content. Thank you so much for making it, man. I appreciate you. Yeah, that's an issue because we do run zone defense. And Russell is not Russell from, 2014. He's a veteran now, right? He's always been that guy who can scramble but will go down. He's not taking a hit. He'll run out of bounds. He'll slide. He plays baseball too, so he knows how to he's got that slide down perfect, right?
Yes, he does.
But I mean, with Russell Wilson, there's that thing. You might be able to get pressure on him, but like Culture Shock. What's up, my guy? Thanks for being in here. He says that's asking a lot indeed. It is, because Russell is a veteran. He's not only a scrambler, he's a veteran as well, so he knows to get rid of that football. Now, he's still a 50-plus sack guy because he is known for holding that football and trying to make things happen. And this is the reason why the Colts moved, one of the reasons, right? The Colts moved on from Houston and Autry to get younger and use guys like Toure and guys like Banagoo and guys like Quiddy Pay who are quicker. And when they do get we got pressure last year. We couldn't run them down. That was the problem. Yeah. And now that we have moved on from those, this is the reason why. They have the speed to run them down now. We have to, as you say, if you can't contain him, catch him. Make him get rid of that football or run out of bounds or something. Make sure that, he's not doing what Josh Allen did to us over and over and over in that wild card game, where he would just run out the pocket, run to the sideline, and just throw the ball and first down on 3rd and 46. I mean, wow. Can our defense force Wilson to make mistakes? Brian McNamara asks. Since this is your first live stream you made it to, I am going to drop that question in here. Do you think that our defense can force Wilson into mistakes?
Yes. Like I said, I really do think the speed that we've brought on this year is just, Wilson's just not going to be used to that from us. You know what I mean? And then we've got these guys, like, one of the big things for me is with Isaac Rochelle and like you said, the depth of our D line is their legs are fresh, their motor's strong. These guys don't stop coming at you. So like I said, it's to me, I feel like that offensive line's just, I would say if we aren't getting in Russell Wilson's head and making him make decisions and feel uncomfortable by mid-second quarter, I'll be surprised. I really do believe that Flus I mean, we've got 11 D linemen. Let's use them all. You know what I mean? Like I said, missiles at a wall. Just keep firing and firing and firing. And because I do believe, like you said, I mean, I think that as long as my only concern is that discipline. I don't want. Are these guys going to leave their lanes? Because that's when Russell really, then he's got that lane where he can stretch it for 20 or 30 yards. That's the thing. Stay disciplined. Keep that dog hunt on, but just stay disciplined in your lanes.
Here's the thing. We need pressure up the middle. You get him on the edge, he's going to run out to the side. We've seen it multiple times. You get pressure up the middle. If you blitz up the gut. Why? Because Russell's one of those guys that will run backwards. I've seen it. He'll run, he'll turn, and he'll run, he'll turn, and next thing you know, it's a 25-yard sack. I've seen it 3 or 4 times last year alone.
Yeah.
Right? Russell is one of those guys. Now, because Russell is so good at scrambling and extending plays and taking off with his feet and getting positive yards with his feet when he needs to, the Colts will run a lot of zone against him, okay? That way you got 11 eyes looking in the backfield. We got to get pressure. We talked about it, that D-line has to work in this. And as someone said earlier, let me scroll up here in the chat, Brandon Woods said the edge rushers need to show something against this Seattle O-line. If we get little to no edge presence, I'm going to be massively concerned. And it could cost us the game. Because if we're going to play a lot of zone, and if we don't get pressure on him, and he's got 3, 4, 5 seconds to throw that football, this game's over. Because their weapons are too good. Too good. And it doesn't matter, you could have Baltimore or New England secondary. And if a guy's got 4, 5, 6 seconds to throw the football, they're going to get torched. That's just how the NFL works. Especially if you're playing zone. Man's one thing, zone's another. And you got to play zone against guys who can scramble like that. Because if you don't, everybody's backs turn to the quarterback. And next thing you know, he's running up the middle for 15, 20, 25. Or if it's Lamar Jackson, 89 yards and a touchdown. So it is what it is. I mean, you got to play the scheme that's best to face against that style of quarterback. And zone is it. And when you play zone, like we said, got to get that pressure. And let's face it, we talked about it a lot. Their offensive line, not that good, right? Not that good. This could be a day where DeForest Buckner has himself a monster. And it's not like he don't know Russell Wilson. He used to play him twice a year, right? He's sacked Russell Wilson plenty of times, even in the playoffs when they ran that Super Bowl run that they had, So, DeForest knows it. And I think that's going to be a big plus for our defensive line because he'll know their type of blocking schemes, what kind of moves and stuff will work on what kind of blockers that they have and stuff like that. DeForest, I think, will be a key part in this game against Seattle.
Yeah. And something we haven't really touched on a whole lot, is Seattle. I think their run game's going to be a little bit better than what they've had in years past. Like you said, Carson is proven to be a stable, consistent piece back there for him. And as long as our defense can still maintain their integrity on the run game, I just feel like that just puts a whole lot onto Russell Wilson's shoulders. But I believe with our linebackers and stuff that I think we've seen enough from Okereke this offseason and stuff to realize that, them slant passes aren't going to be real easy. And I don't think that run game is going to bear as much fruit as that they are probably hoping for, because that takes a lot of pressure off the line if they can run. Mm-hmm. But I think that this, unfortunately for them, they got the wrong defense to try that against.
Dabney Offerman, what's up? Will Leonard spy Russell Wilson, or how are we going to stop him scrambling? Well, you don't stop him scrambling. You cannot just, he's one of those quarterbacks that, that you're not going to keep him from making plays. You just got to limit him, right? And try to get home occasionally. But when you're in zone defense, you don't need a spy because you have 11 spies, that's pretty much what zone deep. Now, when we're in man defense, that's a different story. And I think this is a situation where you might see, so that the Colts aren't tipping their hat, you might see Leonard spying him on one play, and the next play you might see Okereke spying him, Yeah. And then the next play you might see Blackman or Willis or Moore, I mean, in a situation like that, we have so much speed in the linebacker and the secondary that we could change up and hide what we're doing to try to confuse Russell. And that's the beautiful thing about bringing back guys year after year after year on the secondary, guys that are still here multiple years in a row. Now they don't have to think about the scheme. They can react. And then you could put wrinkles in there and allow them to just add a little bit more to what they can do. So I think that and Eberflus has stated that multiple times, there will be wrinkles in this defense that we just didn't see very much of last year because the players are the same players that was here last year and most of them the players from the year before. So
yeah, and seeing that brings me to one of my bigger concerns injury wise right now. I mean, obviously Carson Wentz, is he going to play week 1? But like I told you, I feel like whether it's Wentz or Eason, I feel like that they're going to be fine. But the one that worries me is TJ Carey and the fact that, we've he is a really good piece, and I feel like he could really play a big part in the earlier weeks in our secondary. So if we can't get him back, that I feel like you said, that communication and that veteran savvy and just that leadership and, just communication, this guy, he's been in the league for a minute, he knows, he feels the game as well as understands it, So that is for me, that's probably, that for me is my big number one injury that I don't know. I'm hoping that he can make it back week 1, but from the feeling that I've got with the information and stuff, I don't know that that's going to happen.
No, probably not. Yeah. But that's okay. That's all right. The way I feel it, I think we have enough talent out there that we can, overlook him being there. It's not like we're playing the Rams week 1. You know what I'm saying? So
yeah.
But another thing is, I want to see when I was talking about adding different wrinkles for the Eberflus defense. Last year, the Colts were like the 3rd or the 4th least blitzing team in the NFL, in the entire league, and yet we still got a lot of pressures, right? I mean, yeah. we weren't like, we were still top 15 in sacks, but blitzed, one of the least. So and with the speed and the ability that we have, if he could throw a couple more in there, and like I said, hide them. Don't let him know they're coming. Yeah. That's the thing.
Yeah, because Russell, he can make you pay. I mean, with his feet and his arm, if he, that's exactly right. Like you say, and I feel like that was probably one of our better improvements last year, was disguising our defenses and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And being able to, and that whole splitting through zone coverage, and this guy's got man and all that. I was like, okay, need to learn more about that stuff. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that interception in the end zone,
Kenny Moore?
No, not Kenny Moore.
Okay.
Where Xavier Rhodes broke off. It looked like he was breaking off, and then went back deep and jumped up and caught the ball anyhow, and intercepted it in the back of the end zone. I think it was against the Jets. I think.
Yeah, because he had two, didn't he?
He had one pick six. But
Okay.
that was a play that was supposed to look like man coverage, but he was actually in zone. And they started off like man, and then they broke out into their zones. And because he did that, the ball was thrown, and he was already going to that direction, and it just happened to be an easy pick because he hid what he was doing. So that's huge. That's huge. Robin Williams says, anybody know how far Fisher is? And yeah, no, I don't think. Robin, I miss you, man.
I thought the same thing.
I know, right? It's got to be rough using a name Robin Williams, man. Because that's one of my favorite actors and comedians of all time. I mean, he could play like real good. He was a really good actor. Drama. He could do drama like crazy. I mean, so yeah.
And his freestyle. I mean.
Oh yeah. Never stop. But like What Dreams May Come, dude, I cried in that movie. So it is what it is.
You were mentioning, because I know our defenses were morphing from this cover 2 more to a cover 3, and we've discussed how it's similar to what the Legion of Boom was, and then so what type of advantages does that give Russell Wilson with his experience and going through that transition during practice and stuff? Do you think that gives him a big leg up on our defense? Because I'm not fully sure of the intricacies and how similar are we to what Seattle did there at the tail end, because I didn't pay that much attention.
It is a very similar style. So he has practiced against it his whole career. Now, I mean, just because the scheme is the same, the players aren't, right? They have never had a front seven loaded. Like, their secondary was great. They had a couple guys in their front seven. Obviously, Bobby Wagner's still there. Yeah. They also had another linebacker that was a stud. They had a defensive tackle that was pretty good. I think our front seven now is better than what the Legion of Boom's front seven was, though. But it doesn't matter how much he is comfortable with the scheme that he's playing against if we get pressure on him. Because it still all comes to pressure. It's all about getting him up the gut. Like I said, everybody talks about edge pressure, but in this game against a guy like Russell Wilson, you want it up the gut. All right.
I love the guys that we got doing that, so that's awesome.
Yeah, I mean, when you got guys like Defoe and Stewart, you got a nice defensive tackle situation. Truitt says, so are we going to go to 2 back sets with Marlon and JT, or do you expect more 3 wide receiver, 2 tight end situations?
I would say this is what I would do, and I feel like we sort of saw this last year with our quarterback situation being fairly comfortable, but our left tackle situation being sort of suspect. I can see us running more of the tight end sets. You know what I mean? But we do have good pass blocking running backs. So there again, I just, I like the tight ends because I feel like it gives you more opportunities to be more aggressive and attack from that than it does from the backfield. But that's a good question. I really don't, and these are questions that we're just going to have to see what coaches' beliefs are and what's working, I guess. Like I said, what's the hot style that's going for him in that game?
Yeah. I think so too. Is whoever's got the hot hand, like we talked about earlier. I mean, if Carson is flinging it and they can't stop it, go that route. It is what it is. That's how I feel. And remember last year, Russell Wilson was in the MVP conversation through the first 8 weeks of the season. I mean, he was lighting people up. The problem was defense couldn't stop anyone from lighting them up, you know. So this is a game where Carson legitimately could, you know, have himself a game. I mean, I was talking about, you know, Jacob Eason having himself a game, not expecting Carson Wentz to be a legitimate contender to start week 1. But, you know, that brings up a good question, though, that came in here earlier with Michael Parker. Says, what is the ceiling for Jacob Eason? Will he get a chance eventually? Oh, without a doubt. I think without a doubt he's going to get playing time. Now, will he be the starter? Probably not. Not with Wentz here. As long as Wentz is here and doing well, he probably won't be the starter. But as we all know, Frank Reich learned, or Chris Ballard learned 4 years ago, you need a good backup. That's and history has proven you need a good backup with Carson Wentz as your quarterback, you know, for reasons, obviously. So, he's going to get his opportunities. He's going to get his opportunities to shine, and I think his ceiling is high as long as he continues to improve and progress the way he has this all, because he improved and progressed like rapidly, in my opinion, this offseason. Loyalist?
Yeah. And you guys know my opinion. Carson's going to come out there and hang 30 or 40 on these guys. We're going to stretch out the lead to 28, and he's going to sit the second half. So that way we can save that first round pick and make it a second round pick. And so that means that Jacob's going to get a lot of work. But now, honestly, like you said, with Carson, 17 games, you know, the injury history, the COVID history, yes, Jacob Eason's going to get some run sometime this year. I have to believe. You know, it's a long season, a lot of potential injury spots.
Yeah, it is. It is. Brandon says, how many Wildcat touchdowns are we going to have, considering we had like 4 last year? I don't know. We ran Wildcat quite a bit because we ran Wildcat a few times, mainly because we had a really, really immobile starting quarterback, right? Yeah. So there was situations where, you know, Wildcat was good. I'm thinking when you have a guy like Carson Wentz, that I would see more RPO rather than Wildcat formations. You know what I'm saying? I think that's more of what we'll see, because the beautiful thing about Frank Reich is he adjusts his playbook to what the quarterback is comfortable with and likes, and what his skill sets are. You know, and he's proven it year after year after year after year that he's good at this. So expect more of what Carson is good at rather than, you know, other stuff. At least that's my thought. Oh, Jeff Cena. What's up, my guy? Do you think we're going to be run heavy this year, or do you think we're going to be more of a balanced offense?
Okay, yeah, balance for me. Like I said, guys, I feel like coach is going to get out there, you know, and sort of set the rhythm, let the run game. Here's how I look at it, okay? You know how you have a band and the snare drum sort of gives you your rhythm and stuff? I feel like their run game is going to be our rhythm. It's going to be the tone setter. And then like I said, our explosive plays and stuff, I feel like, you know, are going to come more from the passing game.
I mean, I expect to have a few explosive plays in the run game. I mean,
yeah.
We were I think we were third in the NFL of run plays of 10 or more yards. Yeah. Like that's big. Marlon Mack is known for getting 10 to 15 yard runs. You know, he's not known for getting 50-yard runs like certain speedsters out of Wisconsin. But, you know, he's known for those 10 to 15-yard runs. And those are explosive plays when it comes to the run game. You know, you see a running back rip off a 15-yarder, you're standing out of your seats freaking cheering. You know, I mean, it's just what it is. But yeah, I completely agree. Balanced, in my opinion. And I agree. You start with the run. Everything starts with the run. You get the run going, that means they're going to have to start bringing guys up, you know, and putting more people in the box. And that opens up the pass game, right? And then you got the defense guessing. Am I running it? Am I passing it? Am I RPO? Is the quarterback going to take off with it? We don't know. That's how that's how I feel like our offense could be explosive if it works that way.
Yeah, and I think our run game's also going to take a massive leap whenever we get Fisher in there. Because, I mean, from Davenport, he's serviceable as a run blocker, in my opinion. But I feel like we get Fisher out there, and our run game on that left side's going to get a nice boost.
Yep. Culture shock. I am going to drop in this question. How important do you think Pascal is going to be week one? And I'm going to go to you first.
Pascal is, yeah. For me, and I know I don't, I feel like he's important every week. I feel like he's going to be a huge piece because I know everybody puts him as their number 4 wide receiver, and I understand. Michael Pittman Jr. His nice flashes, and I understand Paris Campbell has these attributes and these talents. But I'm telling you right now, I would much rather sit there and worry about Zach Pascal and how am I going to get this steady producer, this guy that does everything to a good to great level, no matter what it is. I don't care if it's blocking, if it's being the fake route. I mean, yeah. To me, I think Pascal's going to be an important piece in every game. And even when T.Y. comes back, I just feel like Zach Pascal does too many things too well. And I feel like he's one of those guys. I remember in training camp watching him just work Kenny Moe over. And I watched that, and I was just like, and this is no knock to Kenny. I mean, he's outstanding, but it was just amazing the way that he has gotten his route running. He's just as good or close to being just as good as a T.Y. Hilton on route running. Okay. Yeah. He's not the tallest or the fastest, but man, this kid is just, I feel like it's going to be a huge, important piece in every game this year.
I mean, it says a lot when you're talking about that video, that you're talking about with Moore on Pascal. And at the end of it, Moore's like, I ain't trusting you no more. Yeah. I ain't trusting you no more. Only you get those tricky ass plays, and I ain't trusting you no more. And I get it. Pascal is that good of a route runner, and that's why I think Pascal's importance, especially with T.Y. out, I think Culture Shock is on to something here. I think he's going to be incredibly important in this game. Because, yes, he's like 6'3", he's like 2-something, and he's kind of he's that sure hands guy, but he also blocks. He's going to be hugely important. And, yes, he could be that move the sticks guy that we're going to need, But in the question with KDC City, he says, what wide receiver you look for on 3rd and long? Pitt, Pascal, Paris. Give me Paris over the middle all day. I don't see anyone covering him. When you need like a 3rd and 15 because of a stupid, false start penalty or some crap like that, Paris is, I think, that guy that you would want to look for. I think he would be the second person on your progression. The reason why? Because it gives Paris just that little bit of time from the snap to getting to the point where you might actually throw it to him. You go to the first progression, and then by the time you go to the second progression, Paris and his, 4.3 speed is already 15 yards down the field and done made his first cut. That's when you would throw it, right? Brandon says KDC City, whoever is open. Okay, that's the answer. But
yeah, And in this scenario, another thought is, you've got Nyheim Hines coming out of the backfield. Okay, we all know if we can get 3rd and say we get 12 or 13 yards on 3rd and 15, Now we got a coach that's not going to sit there and look at 4th and 2nd and go, "Oh no, we're punting it. We're punting." Well,
Well, unless
so I
we're
mean,
on our own 30.
yeah,
but
but you know
if,
what I'm saying.
But if we're
I mean,
between like
Naheem
the
Hines
50 and the 40 of our side, absolutely, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, that's what you're saying. I get you.
Yeah, yeah. Wasn't he our leading receiver again last year?
Who, Naheem Hines?
Yeah,
Yeah, he had more receptions than anyone else
that's
on
what I
the
was
Colts.
thinking. Yeah,
But, I mean, to be fair, he was getting yards. You know, I mean, everyone's like, it's because we didn't have any open, we don't have a good wide receiving core. That had nothing to do with it. It's because no one was covering him.
Mm-hmm.
And he was open, and you could dump it off to the running back and pick up 8 to 10 yards every time you dump it off to him. Of course you're going to do it. You're moving the sticks, consistently doing that.
Absolutely.
So, yeah.
And you get that ball to him in space, he's going to make the first guy. I will tell you right now, I will take Naheem Hines against any defender. You get him one-on-one in open space, I'll take Naheem Hines, and I'll probably come out ahead on that every day.
Okay. You take Naheem Hines, I'll have Darius Leonard, and we'll see what happens.
That's fine. I'll do that because I'll tell you right now, man, I love that kid. I think the ability, and like you said, he's just got so many tricks in the bag.
Oh, he does. He does. But
I know what you're saying, though.
Oh, man. Pittman is good at going to a place when the original target is covered and plan B evolves. He is good at rescuing the play and bailing out the quarterback, nomadic Brian. He did that for Rivers a few times last year where Rivers was chased out of the pocket. Yes, you heard me right. Chased out of the pocket. You could see him kind of limping down, outside the pocket, running to the edge. He was running, I promise you. It didn't look like it if you was watching. It looked more like a slow jog, but he was running. And, Pittman seen it and ran to the edge with him, and, Rivers hit him for a first down. That happens, and I think that is something that every wide receiver needs to be ripped into their heads, Keep an eye on what's going on. If the quarterback gets under pressure and has to run out, find an open spot in front of the quarterback as quickly as possible. Give him an open target. Come off your route. It's now backyard football, right? I mean, it is. At that point, once the quarterback is chased out of the pocket, it is backyard football time. Truitt says, is Naheem still going to be returning punts and kicks? He'll be returning punts. I don't think he's returning kicks. Marlon Mack is returning kicks. And Marlon Mack's good at returning kickoffs. Marlon Mack.
They sort of backtracked on that over the last week and a half, though, in training camp. I noticed they weren't even running them on special teams. So I don't know if they're going to stay with Rodgers.
Oh, no, they'll have Rodgers and Mack both back there on kick returns. That's you always have two kick returners, one for the left, one for the right. When you're having kick returns. Rodgers, he's a speed demon, right? I mean, that's what it is. Mack knows how to set up his blocks. So you got the guy who could just take it the distance, and you got the guy that could use all those special team blockers out in front of him and pick up good yardage consistently. And since Mack's not the bell cow this year, I am actually really into letting Mack do that, especially since, he says, I'm 100% healthy, So I'm good with that. Guys, it's an hour in. It doesn't feel like we've been talking an hour. Guys, please don't forget to smash that like button. Hit subscribe if you're not subscribed. Tag that notification bell so that you are notified next time I go live. You gotta tag all notifications. Because if you don't hit hitting the notification bell is one thing. You got to go down all the way to the bottom there and click the all notifications, because you might get a notification, but it might not be for when I'm live, unless you hit that all notifications. Also, real quick, we have videos that we pop up on Newsbreak that does not come on to YouTube at all. I've uploaded 2 already, and you know what? if you'd like to support this channel and, can't afford Patreon or anything of that nature, but you hit the like button all the time and you're subscribed, you can financially support us by downloading this free app and giving us a follow. This video is sponsored by Newsbreak. Newsbreak is an app used over 1.5 billion times a month by people just like you to get local news via articles or videos by those who are focused on that specific area. People like myself. Just use the link in the description of this video to download it. Then search a city, state, or someone specific, like myself, Colts Law. Then make sure to follow them so you'll get all the news fresh as it comes out. Now, before I go, because it's been an hour, I am going to go ahead and drop Master Blaster out because he's in the chat as well. Appreciate you being in here. He says, theoretically, Wentz fixes our red zone problems and improves our third down efficiency. But we have to see if he can actually make it happen and how will he play, and how well he plays the quarterback position this year. And you're right, theoretically, more downfield, right? Because of his arm strength, being able to get it in tight windows, third down efficiency. Obviously, you don't have to take him out on, 3rd and 1, like what you did a lot last year with when you had to put Brissett in, because Carson's a big dude. He can run, right up the middle on a quarterback sneak if he needs to, or a draw for that matter, But yes, I agree. It improves dramatically. It's really, it's all up here, I think, because Frank Reich said even though he's been injured or on COVID or whatnot, he's been working himself. Reich, the quarterback's coach, the offensive coordinator, his personal trainer, they've been working with him on a daily basis with his, his mechanics, the simple mechanics to get his, his footwork right and, things of that nature. That stuff that he was able to work on even when he was out. So he wasn't able to run hard or nothing like that, but it's a lot of it's mental reps, going over it in your head and kind of doing it. So that's something that, week 1, I think it's going to, don't get too upset if Carson doesn't blow up, if he has an interception or something, it is what it is. I mean, remember last year, Phillip Rivers didn't exactly start the season off very good. Remember? I mean, he started off pretty poorly.
And I wouldn't be surprised to sit there and watch Carson come in, week 1 and really be overhyped. I mean, he's, having to bring himself and find his his inner chi or whatever and find that focus, because I would have to imagine with this crazy offseason that he's had, not to mention the preseason and the injury and the COVID scare and everything else. And after all that, he's still there week 1. I mean? So that already is, sort of putting a thumb up to some of the people, Now if he goes out and just can, like I said, find his control, find staying focused in the moment, and just like coach has been saying all, every interview, just stay within your limits, You have a team, don't sit there and try to win the world all in one play. If he can do that and keep that what I would have to believe manage his inner emotions, man, I am so stoked to see this game. I get ready to watch the Notre Dame game, and it's like, man, I'm going to go in this thing going, ah!
So we're going to get out of here. Don't forget, keep an eye on Believe in Colts, because that'll be coming out either tomorrow or Tuesday. I've got a Seahawks one with the Believe in Seahawks where we have DeQuell Jackson. I have DeQuell Jackson. Me and him do Believe in Colts. They've got Oh, I can't remember his name. He's
I'm over here hoping you're going to say Marshawn Lynch.
no, he's an ex linebacker, all pro linebacker for the Seattle who had to leave because he was having he had health issues. But he just retired not long ago, like a couple years back. I'm sorry, I don't follow Seattle as closely as I should. Didn't back then, and I can't remember his name, but he's part of it. So we'll be doing that together. So keep an eye on that, guys. Please don't forget to smash that like button. And go check out everything that I have, man. It's all down in the description of the video. Appreciate each and every one of you. And as usual, I'm Lawrence Owen. That's Colts Loyalist. Don't forget to have a good one.